Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Leather History, a Fireside Chat. I'm Doug O'Keefe, and I am the host and the producer of the chats, which are a program of the Leather Archives and Museum. Today, we're traveling to Iceland, and I'm going to try to correctly pronounce my guest's name today. I've been practicing, and he's been trying to teach me, but let's see what I can do with it, okay? Sigurour Julius Guomundsson. Am I anywhere near close?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Okay. Well, we may just have to settle for that. But okay, I'm making an effort with the Icelandic language.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So Sigurour is one of a group of people who have started a bear group in Reykjavik, Iceland. So Sigurour, would you tell us a little bit about who the people are who are with you creating this group?
Okay. Well, it's a core group of four guys, basically, who got together in 2019. And we all were volunteers of another bear festival that had been running for 15 years here in Iceland called Bears on Ice.
Oh.
And that one was started by a guy called Frosti. And that one had been running and sort of become like the glue of like the bear scene in Iceland. 2019, Frosti decided to retire that, and he actually moved to the United States. And the four of us just couldn't bear to think that it would just completely die off. So we banded together and started up our own festival based off of what Frosti did so well.
And what do you think Frosti did so well?
Well, Bears on Ice was always sort of a different sort of bear festival in the sense that usually when you think of a bear festival, it's like a full-on party all the time, just like that sort of scene, like full on. Bears on Ice and now Reykjavik Bear took it a step further, and we have included in the festival tours to go see like the most popular like natural sites in Iceland, and focus a little bit more on like making connections and friendships and in some cases more lasting relationships.
Okay. Let's take a little bit of a step back.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about growing up in Iceland. Your family, your circumstances. It's very different from what we know in the United States.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in the north of Iceland, and I grew up in a sort of an interesting time. I'm born in 1980, so I'm a child becoming a teenager as the AIDS pandemic is doing all the bad things that did. In Iceland, that was sort of a catalyst for bringing gay people into the norm, because Iceland is such a small sort of place. Very, very early on, it was very difficult for anyone to say that they didn't know a gay person or gay or lesbian person. So everyone was sort of impacted by AIDS in some way. And it took a very short time for things to change here. So I remember in my early teens thinking like, I am never coming out of this closet. I am going to die with this secret of mine, and I will probably die of AIDS. Like that was my early thinking. And
wow.
before I turned 20, that kind of mentality had completely changed in Iceland, and it seemed a lot more open. Like, not that it was completely open at that point, but it happened in the span of less than 10 years. We go from like it's a really, really bad thing to it's pretty okay. So when I finally come out at 20, my family had also gone through that sort of thing without really knowing about me. So my family went from kind of feeling not ready for this to being like, okay, so that's something, but okay, cool.
What exposure did you have to sort of an international gay community? How did you know what was going on?
Back then, There was very little. I mean, this is very early days of internet, so I'm a bit of a nerd. So I was on IRC chat, very young, just finding some guys there just to talk to. But there was very little. The most I actually knew was that there was it was always still just a rumor that Elton John was gay, and Freddie Mercury before he died, and then he of course died very publicly. Like those were my connections. These very few guys who were who were out or came out. It was very little. There was not a lot of exposure as a kid in the north. When my family moved to the city, though, when I was a teenager, that sort of changed. I started to hear more. There was talk in school, and wow. And then there was there's an Icelandic pop star, the most famous pop star of Iceland, who's his name is Páll Óskar. He had come out, and I remember when I was like 14, 15, going to like a school dance where he was singing and DJing and things. And that was like, no, okay, so that guy is gay, okay. And I had no idea what to do with that, though.
Have you ever met him?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've met us a few times actually. We've had some collaboration in the queer organization of Iceland and that sort of thing.
And do you see him as any kind of a mentor to the community in Iceland?
He is, I mean, he is an icon. He's an absolute icon here. I think with the queer movement anywhere, there's always these people who are the front runners. He is absolutely one of those people here. He took all those difficult steps so that the rest of us didn't have to take them, you know? Mm-hmm. So he, in that sense, like he is definitely someone who I think generally people look to and think like he did some huge things for us.
Ah, very good, very good. Yes, I should think with a population so small, even a famous person would be nearby.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yet over the years, the circumstances in Iceland have dramatically changed for the LGBTQ community, as evidenced by my background photo.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. When I visited Reykjavik pre-COVID, this was a beautiful thing for me to see, so I took a photo of it.
Yeah. I can't remember how many years back. We started before Pride, which we celebrate in August here. There would always be a street or a place where the rainbow will be painted, and it will be there for a few weeks or maybe a couple of months. Okay. And a few years ago, the city decided to make it a permanent one. And it's actually a different street than the one that you have in your background, but it now has a permanent place in the city. Oh. And it's called the Rainbow Street now.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
How does Iceland celebrate Pride?
Well, I should imagine it's probably similar to how most of the sort of the Western cities do it. We are, of course, very different in the sense that it's a small community. We do a week-long celebration with some talks and courses and that sort of thing, some entertainment here and there, and it all culminates in, of course, the Saturday parade or the Saturday march, depending on how you prefer to see it. For that, we probably hold the world record, the per capita, how many people show up for the march, because we've had up to a third of the population showing up.
Wow.
So it's a big thing. We people fill up downtown basically when we do the parade. And of course, like, there's partying, and it's a really fun time to be.
Well, tell me a little bit about the gay scene in Reykjavik, because again, it's a very small community, but what do you have available?
Well, uh, as you say, like it is a small community. We are also, I think, in many ways, sort of different, in the sense that Iceland has gone to a very like progressive place where being gay or lesbian is almost like a non-issue at this point. Although we are having a bit of a backlash right now. I think there's a backlash happening in many places, but it's definitely happening here right now. It's sort of a weird thing where you get to that point of it being such a small issue. There's a lot of people who then start to think like, I don't need like this, this gay or queer space, so I'll just go wherever for my partying or whatever. So we have basically two like party places to go to. One has become very straight, if I can say that, and the other one is sort of fringy kind of thing. But it's like both are fun in their own way. It's a very weird place to be. Like if you feel like you need that space, I can imagine some people kind of not knowing where to go. Of course, we have a lot of organizations that are actively working, like the Queer Organization of Iceland. So there are like spaces to go. As for like the general vibe, I sort of feel like the need for those spaces has declined a little bit. So when that happens, they sort of go away. So I still don't really know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because I mean, sure, it's a great thing that we sort of don't need that, but there's still people who need it. So it's a very interesting thing. And yeah, I think it's a sort of a different thing. It's a different problem that we're dealing with here.
But when you say backlash against the LGBTQ community, the gay community, what do you mean?
Right now, there's been a little bit of violence happening, which is very rare in Iceland. But there's been a little bit of violence towards LGBTQ people. We sort of notice that, like as soon as that starts happening, we're like, this is not normal. It's such a rare thing. On top of that, there's a church here that recently did a rainbow flag on their path to the church.
Okay.
And that flag has now been vandalized twice within a week.
Oh my God.
So there's a little bit of that sort of thing. Iceland is a very, very peaceful place, and just anything out of the ordinary is really, it's immediately a red flag.
What is the community doing about this?
It's mobilizing. The queer organization has a very strong voice in Iceland. There is a person who is, I think, in English it would be an assistant district attorney, who said a bit of a homophobic thing publicly a few days ago, and they are going after him. They are actually pressing charges against him now.
Wow.
They are, I think, sort of coordinating these things. The media, thankfully, is very much with us, and I think the majority of Icelanders are definitely with us. I mean, yeah, Iceland is a very, very tolerant place, but there's always bad seeds in between.
What do you think makes Iceland so tolerant?
How small it is. Like, I think that's a huge thing. The degrees of separation for everyone living in Iceland is so small.
Yeah.
So you never have to go far to find the connection to whoever it is. Like you will probably find some sort of like family relation to whoever you're talking to within like 4 or 5 degrees.
Oh my.
It's such a tiny little place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Family is huge here, and when you're talking to someone and they are somehow related to you, there's immediately that connection, and you can't waste time on hating your family. Like when
Let's come back to the Reykjavik Bears. You mentioned this a little bit ago, that you're building upon a previous incarnation of
Yes.
Bears on Ice. You're part of a group of 4 who are creating this new organization. How are you going about doing that?
Well, I say we're 4. Of course, there's a lot of other guys helping out. It was just the 4 of us who sort of got it going and sort of took charge.
Okay.
So we started in 2019, planning to hold our first Reykjavik Bear event, this international event, in 2020, which did not happen, of course.
Yeah.
And sort of first idea was to just to sort of expose ourselves, you know, just to show people like we exist, we are here, like we want to meet you guys. Bears on Ice, as wonderful as it was always very underground. We're sort of taking that step of almost like the Bears are coming out of the closet here. Like everyone knows, like we're here, like we are a very bear-centered country, I think. But sort of just coming out and saying like we are here. We're very open to meeting more of you guys. We are very proud of how we look, how we are, and what we are. Creating that space of like, you know, you don't need to hide or like be ashamed of what you look like, because you most likely you're freaking hot.
Why was Bears on Ice a little closeted?
Nah, not closeted. It was just like sort of
or underground.
It was just a little bit underground. It was like everyone in the gay scene knew about it, knew where it was, and sort of, you know, on that level.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, if you didn't have those connections, you wouldn't know about it. It was just that.
Wow. Now, what is your current population for your organization? How many people are there?
The volunteer group is around 20 guys.
Okay.
Who do like it varies how much involvement there is. Last year we managed to have an event.
Okay.
The locals that showed up for those events were around 100 or so.
Wow.
Yeah. We were very, very happy about that, seeing as like we were 15 minutes away from a lockdown again, because COVID was sort of looming.
Yeah.
So we were very happy that we actually managed to have the event and that people actually showed up.
Now, what events do? You did mention that you went on some tours and whatnot. Tell us more about that.
So our schedule is pretty simple. So we start off on Thursday, when the guys are most of the guys are coming to Iceland on the Thursday. So we have like an opening party, just like a welcome kind of thing for everyone to just meet up and say hi and get their gift bag and that sort of thing. Friday morning we leave for the Golden Circle, which is it's a tour to go to 3 of I think the most popular places to visit in Iceland: Thingvellir, Geyser, and Gullfoss, the waterfall called Gullfoss. There's a lot of walking and just like hanging out. So there's and of course like the bus ride is amazing fun. So there's a a bunch of time for the guys just to sort of connect and get to know each other. Friday night we have our first like official like open party where the locals might show up. We call that one the top off party. So we encourage everyone to get their tops off and be a little bit free. Saturday we go to the Blue Lagoon and soak up and relax a little bit, you know, and get some energy for our Saturday night party. And that one is sort of like our main party. So we will have a little bit of entertainment there, and we have a great DJ, and DJ Chris with a K, He's coming in from the UK.
Oh, wow.
Sunday morning, we have a brunch to sort of just say goodbye and have a good hearty meal together.
Last year, your very first gathering for your group was very successful, but have you had one? Not yet this year. It's coming up, isn't it?
It's coming up on the 1st of September, 1st of September until the 4th.
Okay, yes.
And that'll be our second run.
Okay.
And then we also do we do a few local events throughout the year,
okay.
Which we just want to stay connected with the bear scene here, of course.
Yeah. Now, how many international guests do you anticipate?
So we are currently about 10 tickets away from selling out. We capped the tickets at 54.
Oh, wow.
So we have today we have sold 44. So we are actually expecting it actually to sell out. So that'll be a fun thing.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah.
54 is an odd number. Why that number?
It is the number of available seats on the bus.
I should have known. I should have known.
Yeah.
How do you manage a host hotel or any other logistics like that?
We don't have an actual host hotel. We have a deal with some hotels and hostels who offer our guests a discount if they choose to book there, but we haven't taken that step to have an actual host hotel. That might happen in the future, but we haven't gone that far yet.
Okay. Now, do you partner with any of the, for example, any of the clubs or any of the other organizations in order to have camaraderie or a good place?
Not really. Perhaps it's a little bit because the club scene in downtown tends to be a little bit fluid. So places come and they go. And we of course also want to go to places where we sort of feel that they are very inclusive and open to our group. So we tend to move around a little bit, but we try to stay very central. There's one place which is one of the two places, the gay bars that are around, which we always do the Friday event. We always do it there. We have done it there for many years. It's called Gaukurinn. It's just somehow the perfect vibe for the top off party, and we really enjoy ourselves there. So we try to stay there. The other places we generally just find the best place to be each year.
What makes that bar such a good vibe?
Well, for the first thing, the owners are very open. They're very happy to have us, and we actually have bear parties throughout the year. We do try to have them there. It's a very mellow. It's a bit of a dark place, so it's a little bit. And yeah, it's just the vibe there. We really have looked. We just haven't found a place that has a better vibe for that sort of scene.
Where would you like to see Reykjavik Bears in the next 4 or 5 years?
Hopefully we're going to be doing similar things. Hopefully we're going to be maybe a little bigger. Maybe we'll have 2 buses. But hopefully we'll be more visible, more open. I have this weird dream of having sort of the bear den to go to, because we don't have an actual bear bar or something like that. But I would love to see us having something like that.
I hope that happens for you. Now, how does Reykjavik Bears compare with other LGBTQ organizations in Iceland?
I think most of the organizations here are sort of centered around this sort of like bringing attention and fighting for like the rights of that particular group. And in some sense, Reykjavik Bear does that. I think it's a bit different because of, you know, it's centered around this event. That is our first and foremost purpose, to keep that thing going and building upon that. In some ways, we are more about building the community, whereas I think most organizations are more about just, you know, bringing that community to light, fighting for it or something like that. But we are actively trying to create it and bring it together.
Okay. Now, how does Reykjavik Bears compare to, for example, international organizations for bears? How do you see that?
Well, we are still sort of just dipping our toes into that pool of getting to know all these different organizations. We've had a little bit of contact with the organization in France, and we're actually quite keen on meeting up with them at some point. But obviously that had to wait a little bit.
Yes.
There's a few organizations, mostly in Europe, that we've a little bit talked with. I don't know if there's a lot of difference. I think most often we're sort of dealing with the same thing. We're just like trying to find each other and trying to build a community.
Okay. Now, what advice can you offer foreign tourists coming to Iceland?
I think I would say stay for a little bit longer than you think you need to. I think that's I think the most common thing when people come here and they're coming maybe for like a long weekend or something, and then they realize that there's actually a lot more to see here than they actually thought, and they end up not having time to see everything. I would always say, like, you know, give it a, you know, 2-3 extra days, you know.
What is a must-see destination in Iceland?
Ooh, so I think if you were talking to the tourist board, they would definitely say the Blue Lagoon. For me, I really love the Glacier Lagoon, which is it's a bit of a drive, but it's just such a spectacular place.
What advice can you offer other people who may be considering a similar group to yours?
That's a very good question. I would say just go for it and embrace the almost inevitability that you will make some mistakes. The mistakes will not damage anything so badly. You will just learn from them and you will be better.
Okay, that's very good. So let me see. I'm going to try the correct pronunciation once again. It's a challenge. Yep. So Sigurour Julius Guomundsson.
Yes.
Is it anywhere okay?
For someone who doesn't speak Icelandic, that's really good.
Okay, I appreciate that. I would like to thank you for taking time to do a bit of a fireside chat for Inside Leather History, a fireside chat. Iceland is such a unique destination that I know many people are going to be very happy to hear something from you about this.
It's absolutely my pleasure. And I do hope that you come and visit us one day also.
I hope I will too. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.